Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is March the 17th, 2024 on the ancient moon calendar, 2024 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2024 on the Greco-Roman civic calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and in accordance and alignment with the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this Holy Congress. This is a sovereign living ancient Article 3 Moorish American Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the sovereign living justices and Eggleston Pauline Denise Ritchie. My free chosen sovereign appellation is Light Tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminutio nolo in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capite et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful and legal, natural, living head and body for our empire. All Moors are the divine, original, indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Israelites, Hamathites, Cushites, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves. For we are the ancient empire state for Morocco. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are, at fact, the government as well. We are ancient Washington District for Columbia. We are the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Earth-wide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. Today, we are demonstrating and being the law by our sovereign status, which is the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3 living United States District 4 Columbia Court. And we're the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, trustees, trustors, fiduciaries, fiduciaries, divine ministers, possessors, grantors, grantors, and title trustors for all causes for action. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign divine ascension. We do possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We, the true living God nation, are not at war. We're not at war, and we will not be going to war. We exercise and demonstrate all eternal, ancient, original sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, non-pro-tunc. The principles that we share, along with our powerful sovereign demonstrations and study, are stare decisis, res judicata, an ancient positive supreme law for the land, long established in sovereign order. Erudite principles and processes for daily practical application to intelligently govern our vast estate every day is what our ancient ancestors have given us to share with the sovereign nations, tribes, clans, states, and governments at earth, and for this we are grateful. Let's share our screen. Sure. Okay. Our new year is coming up on March 21st. I will say this about our new year. Our new year obviously is celebrated differently from what we knew in that previous era, because ever since we awakened to our status, we've not really seen a whole lot of, celebration in terms of, spending a lot of fiat and throwing big bashes and things of that nature, the way that it was done in the last era, in the previous era. And I know that's because our ancestors willed that we move away from the spending of fiat for things that have to do with us. So we do want to congratulate the Moors on the new year that is here. In just a few days later this week, we will to state Happy, happy, happy New Year. This new year will be one that will not be forgotten. We are going to celebrate this year, but in a different way. The celebration will happen as we continue to demonstrate our status, especially with regard to our banking and things of that nature. Each one of those milestones that we cross over will be a celebration. It won't be long. We're already there. We're already there. We already have more money than anyone else at Earth. We know that. And now we're moving into just the circulation of it. So that's where we are right now with our money, our banking, our wealth. Is we are finding the different ways and putting them on the record to circulate our money. So with that being said, wow, March 21st, we have an empress whose born day is that day, her Earth day or birthday is that day. Congratulations, Empress. That says a lot. There's some energy attached to the newness of the year that you get to celebrate, and we get to celebrate with you every year. So that is absolutely amazing. Empress Al Rose. We have a question for the Congress. As we move into our topics. You know, we've been talking about the trauma from the last era. And for us, trauma is used to propel, it was used to propel us forward as we wake up. That is what trauma from the previous era was about. It was used as a tool to propel us forward based on what the opposite of trauma is. Does anyone know what the opposite of trauma is? Because, see, what we're doing is turning everything right side up, putting everything back in its proper place. See, in the last era, trauma was used to make us victims or make us feel like we were victims. And I use those words loosely, as it were, because no one can make us do anything or create us to do anything. We do that ourselves. We have to grant permission. Some say in the chat, freedom. Some say that peace is the opposite of trauma. Healing is the opposite of trauma. That's good. Wholeness. Those are some of the responses from the Congress in the chat. Islam. All of those are correct, by the way, because they are wellness also. All of those are correct. Stability, Empress Rama says that's a great answer as well. All of those are correct. Peace, love, light, healing, Empress Nana says in the chat. Serenity, Empress Sasha in the chat. Yes, all of those are correct. We will to focus on a specific part of that. Empress Angel says, what is the etymology for trauma? That's a great question. That's a great question. Let us look that up really quickly, and we will even shed some light for our own selves on what is the etymology of the word trauma. So the etymology for the word trauma is Latin, and the word is trauma or traumas, or traumata. It says in medicine, an injury or wound violently produced the condition of neurosis resulting from this. In psychiatry, an emotional experience or shock which has a lasting psychic effect. And then there's something here, it says traumatic, Latin traumaticulus, or traumaticos, and it says used in the treatment of wounds. Used in the treatment of wounds. Trauma is used in the treatment of wounds. Now, that's where we're going with this word. So, for example, if you have a wound and they pour salt in the wound to clean the germs out, or alcohol in the wound, it's going to be painful, but it is for the purpose of healing. It's further trauma based on that wound, but there's healing that follows. It's assistive in healing. Trauma in this era, sanitizing, victory, and again, we're talking about trauma that took place in the last era. Another liberty, Empress Aisha, yes, solidness. One of the areas that we will to focus on, where the opposite of trauma is overcoming fear. That is what the opposite of trauma is. That is the result of the opposite of trauma. So trauma is one side of it. The other side of it is overcoming fear. We we willed or volunteered to go through some trauma from the last era. And then many of us, when we woke up, all of us actually, when we woke up, we agreed to go through some things then too. They would have been traumatizing had they not been so empowering. For example, when we did our POW jail demonstrations and things, the two that we did, we might have been traumatized had we not seen our words change things. Had we not seen those that were pretending to be judges take off the robe, put the robe on the floor, and sit down and come off that stage and start talking and looking worried. Had we not seen that, we probably would have been traumatized. We saw things that we never thought we would see as we were going through situations like that, tests like that, doing court actions, and whole groups of those who came to traumatize being stopped at the door that they supposedly had the key to, because they were coming in, they were attempting to come into the cell and force some things. And I will tell you this, they couldn't do it because we stood on our square. We call them, we don't even call them, because POW is for power for us. We stated that previously, which is where it's been placed in the chat. POW for us is power. It's a power place. It's a place where we demonstrate our power and our authority. So, listen, Our ancestors know what they're doing with us. Our ancestors know what they're doing with us. Both times when we did the power demonstration, we were demonstrating our sovereign status at the time. And that was just the ancestors' way of challenging, of saying, okay, you say who you are, let's have you to prove that to yourself. We weren't even proving it to anybody else. We were proving it to ourselves. And so, with that being stated, trauma is a tool to induce fear. It is a mechanism by which fear was put in to the programming from the last era, from the previous era. Overcoming fear is the cure. Booster inoculation from fear is consistent demonstration of our true identity. So in order to inoculate yourself or build up an overcoming energy over fear, just consistently demonstrate who you are. Be yourselves at all times, and you will overcome fear very quickly. Be willing to be tested in that area. And see, after a while, your tests, you will call forth your own test. See, we call forth our own test anyway. The testing will not come until we call it forth. So those POW power demonstrations, some absolutely ran away from more science because they were not willing to be tested in that area. Whereas others of us, we said, no matter what, we're going to be ourselves. So we'll just have to find a way to be ourselves, however we do that. For many, their greatest fear was jail or prison. For many, their greatest fear. Meanwhile, we had our brothers and sisters sitting up in there for 10, 15, 20, 25 years. And we were out being afraid of that. We had to get past that so that we could assist them. It's not just about us. Yes, it's about us first and foremost. But after that, it's about everybody else. And so if you will to inoculate yourself against fear so that you're never afraid again, just keep being yourself. And you'll get stronger and stronger and more powerful and more powerful. And no matter what test you go through, because see, we faced our greatest fears then. That was the first question we asked our ancestors when we first woke up is, how do we get past those that were acting as quote unquote police and acting as fake judges and all of that? Because we saw people getting thrown into a shredder over a busted tail light, and that was becoming more and more and more pronounced. We witnessed, and we'll just say we witnessed someone get 99 years, a sentence, quote unquote, in the enactment of 99 years in jail for driving under the influence. This was back long before we woke up. It was about a decade before we woke up. I was just thinking to myself, who does that? Who does that? 99 years. There's someone in the chat asking a question about why are we not demonstrated to release from jail? You are supposed to demonstrate your release from jail. You absolutely are. Yes, we've done it. We've done it. We didn't have 50 people come down and say or do anything. Our ancestors said, you stand because you're the one saying that you're sovereign. The one that put the questions in the chat, do you know what sovereign means? And I'm asking the questions just to get us to think, because see, Moors a lot of times they were willing to have the consulate come and do something to get them released, when in reality the consulate can't help anyone if they're not standing on their square competently. And when they're standing on their square competently, they're getting themselves out because they are the consulate. See, all Moors are the consulate, so the consulate is there. The consulate has been at every POW demonstration that Moors have done, because whoever that Moor is that's doing that demonstration is the consulate. The consulate is not someone else. It's you. Surprise. So you are to set yourselves free. It can be done. Just stay on your square and don't come off of it. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Be at peace. Don't war back and forth with them. They know who you are already, the subjects in the office of. But here's the thing. If someone has to come and get you out, are you really ready to govern trillions and trillions in resources? Are you ready to do that if someone has to keep rescuing you? I'm just asking. Listen, nobility is not assumed. It is proven. It's proven by the sovereign. Yes, Empress Shasha says freedom is not given, it is claimed and proclaimed. So no one is supposed, if you say that you're sovereign, no one is supposed to come and get you because you're the sovereign. You're the consulate, you're the justice, you're the judge, you're the Vatican, you're the Pope, you're the controller of all. Period. Yes, chief executive officers, presidents, treasurer, you're all of that. You're the bail bondsman. You are the bail bondsman, not anybody trying to force you into a contract. Supreme authority, supreme power, supreme sovereignty, supreme nobility. So no one is supposed to do that. And listen, if you're scared, say you're scared. If you're scared, say you're scared, but then still demonstrate. We had some fear going on during our demonstrations, but it doesn't stop us from opening our mouths and speaking the court action language, because we know we're the court. We know that. And still demonstrate. Still. Because guess what? They know you're the court too. They know you're the real police. They know that already. They know you're the real bank. Everyone already knows your identity. Do you? That's a great question in the chat. It says, if we are the sovereign, why are we getting arrested? If you would speak in the first person, because some of us are not getting arrested. And those of us who got arrested, quote unquote, set ourselves free. But there are some who are not yet quite competent to set themselves free, because they're looking for somebody to save them, and they will not continue to stay on their square. There cannot be any capitulation. His help is going to be, and there's a question in the chat. It says, my buddy was arrested a long time ago. He has reached out for help. How do I help? How do you help? Well, you do the same thing that you would do if someone came and said that they were coming to arrest who they think is you. You would properly identify. So your buddy has to do that for himself. But you can tell him, and you can send him documentation that he properly identifies, and you can be a witness to his identity. That's how you help. Is first know how to save yourself, so that while you're assisting him, you don't get caught up, because we've seen that also. We've seen where Moors went down to a courthouse, and they were going to go and have they were going to support their brothers and sisters and do a little, I don't know if it was protesting or going down there to support, and one or two got picked out of the crowd and got arrested while they were sitting there to support their brothers, because they were not competent to demonstrate their status. We must stand. We must stand. We did our power demonstration in a cell for 10 days. And that whole time, all we did was court actions for 10 days. All we did was court actions. Every time a face showed up at the door, they got a court action done. And then we would state whatever we stated and ask questions and do what we do and whatever, but they got a court action every time. They were all asked, what is your name? And they were asked that repeatedly. Every time they showed up, if they showed up 3 times a day, that's 3 times they got a court action. And then, what is your name? And each time they stated their name, or said their name rather. Well, if you have a name that you claim, that means that if you're saying that you are your name, then you're already under the authority of the Moors. Because that's what christening is. Christening, Christianity. Look that up in the dictionary. We've shown that. We gave everybody names. We did that. We christened them. And that's why they're loyal when they see us competent and peaceful. So with that being stated, we've done many demonstrations and court actions and congresses regarding how to continue to state who you are. Just a moment, and so it is up to us. Just a moment. It is up to us to continue to do so. So, with that being stated, question number 2. There's a couple of them. What does de facto mean? And then, knowing the meaning of the word de facto, are the actors de facto? And as we stated before, and this is to say that they are the government, in fact, when we know they're just actors. that very statement means that whoever says that, and I'm not saying any specific people, but what I'm stating is that if we make the claim that they are de facto, we are stating out of our mouths that they are in fact the government, and we are de jure, which means we're sitting back, not really governing in reality that they are, and that is not true. But see, those of us who are governing actively, which is all of us, we know they're not even de facto, because de facto is Latin for in fact. We are the government, both in fact and at law. We are government de jure and de facto by fact. We prove it by even being here. So I guess I answered the question. But it's just something for us to think about as a nation and as the government, to even stop giving actors that credit. They're not even de facto because they're not governing us. We govern ourselves. And yes, see, de facto, there was a little bit of energy in de facto that said that, you know, whether it's right or wrong, they're de facto government. Well, no, they're not. Never were and never will be. We are the government all day, every day. Our documentations prove it. Us doing Congress on the public record and court actions on the public record, we're proving that we're government. We've always been government. We just continue to prove it. So with that being stated, we're going to continue governing. Our prophet Noble Drew Ali said that the European was going to be left here long enough to teach us how to govern. We got it. And look at what you're seeing. People going away and not being here, not pretending and acting like they're government. We're the government. Always have been and always will be. By fact and at law. Before I awaken, and we'll just move on to we're moving through our topics pretty quickly. Having stated that we know we're the government, we're the treasury, we're also the people. We're the sovereigns. We are, as we were stating before the recording started, in the meeting before the meeting, we stated clearly that we have all resources are ours. They're in our hands. All resources, to include money. We have more money than any other nation at earth. We have more money than any nation on the planet in our hands today, right now. That's how you know we're government. Because the government uses its resources to assist the people. Now, I have one other question for this Congress, and we know, according to Article 1, Section 6 of the Constitution, that it's only in Congress that we question one another. Okay. The one doing business as Hotep Asir El Bay in the chat. Can you press *6 and state the territory that you're at? *6 and state the territory that you are at. Just one moment.
The fact that you pay taxes on your house, Pauline, proves that the
Hotep Asir El Bay. What territory are you at? Islam?
the government has dominion over you, Pauline. You pay taxes.
What territory are you at? Because I see you have a lot of questions that you're placing in the chat, and we don't mind that. Just one moment. Let me see. Yeah, you can just tap unmute nobility. Okay, so with that being stated.
Go to the King County website and you'll see where Pauline.
With that being stated, mic on my computer is not right. And we suspect that. So with that being stated, a third question for the Congress, because this is something that we've been thinking about, and it occurred to us just in the last few days how powerful our words are and were even in our sleep. Did any of you, while you were in your sleep, or even after awakening, did any of you listen to wealth affirmation videos? Wealth affirmation videos. You know, there were videos where, you know, they would say, you would listen to those videos and it would say, you know, to repeat after them, I am very wealthy and wealth comes to me, and, you know, things of that nature. I did too. I did do that in my sleep. It occurred to me just in the last 24 to 48 hours that those videos actually, because we repeated them, it worked. When I think about how much money we actually have, they worked. Us doing the exercises worked. It wasn't the video doing it, it was us doing it, and it was our word doing it, making those energies manifest. So this week I realized that they worked. And additionally, as I was looking at, you know, going through YouTube and looking at whatever was going to be the next video, one of those popped up, and I realized that I don't have to ever do that again. Just, you know, me. I don't have to ever state those affirmations again because we already have the money. We already have it. Which to me says that it worked, even though we were asleep. And so our mission was accomplished. And now we are creating avenues to use our money to grow our empire. We're saying that we've begun to accept donations of property to use and to tribute to the people in exchange for gold and silver using our more sovereign delirium gold receipt financial accountability system. We'll talk about that some more in the coming congresses. We're still just listening to the ancestors about these things, about the movement of property and contributing to the people and things of that nature. So with that being stated, yes, Empress Alrose says we always had wealth, but just had to put works to the faith. Yes. And this Congress, these are the works. These are the works. Us all being Chief Justices, that's the work that we put with our faith. Faith and fate are the same word. And it is, listen, everything that we have been tested on has been aimed at building our confidence. Because, see, confidence and faith and trust are all the same word. They all mean the same. And so whatever we put our confidence in, that will be the law. It is the law. Because we had previously, in the previous era, enacted putting our faith in fiat and fiat systems and things of that nature, those things had to work, but they didn't have to work to our benefit, which they did not, for the most part. And so now what we're doing is using our systems in the same way that we did in the previous era. We're using our systems to manifest all that is ours. So we have two things that we're going to do this Congress to further that agenda that we have. But before we get to those two actions, we do know that those who were doing business previously as whatever they were doing business as, they know that we're awake. Here is a link, and you can just start at minute 25 with this one, because so that you can, not have to listen to the colorableness and all of that. But the title of the video is Islam is Winning the Forever War. That's the title of the video. And at minute 25, the subject starts to talk about Islam winning a forever war. But my question about that was, what is he even seeing to make him say that? Because, first and foremost, our Islam is the law. It's not a modern religion where we bow down and pray to someone outside of us and all of that. That is not our Islam. Okay? That is others' Islam. That's not our Islam. Our Islam is exactly what we're doing right now, which is dominion over all. That is Islam. The word Islam has many different meanings. One of those meanings is land. And our dominion over all is what Islam is and what Islam does. We are Islamic Muslims, which Muslim means muscle. And that muscle comes in every dimension and every way. We are the muscle in every way. If you go back and look at some of the old documents, you'll see where we were called muscle men. Islam. So in this video, who knew there was a war with Islam? Who knew that? We know we're not at war, so we know they're not talking about us. But the points were interesting. We know that they talk in code too. So I just found that interesting that would be out there. With that being stated, never forget who you come from. Not just where you come from, but who you come from. You and I came from those who are so intellectually precise that they built mechanisms that tell the sun, moon, stars, and cosmos what time it is and what's happening on Earth, so that the sun, moon, stars, and cosmos can reflect what's happening on Earth. Our ancestors built that system. We are our ancestors' return. You and I are given the same blood as those who created pyramids all over the earth that line up with each other and the cosmos. Our ancestors sent us here, and actually we volunteered to come here to align the land and the law for the land, as well as her resources and all entities thereof. That's how eternally powerful we are. Before modern persons were, we are. Before police were.
If you're so powerful, why can't you spend your phony money?
Before prisons and jails, we are. Before money and commerce, we are.
If you're so powerful, how come they rejected your check at the bank?
Before trauma, we are. See, they don't like when
you're not
we say
that powerful.
we are. We know you don't like it, but it's okay. It's all right. You'll be okay. Before all else, we are. Before court jesters and subjects in the office of court jesters, we are. Always have been and always will be. That's not going to change. After modern persons, we are. After court subjects in the office of court jester are long gone, we will still be. After police, quote unquote, we will still be. After prisons and jails are gone off the land, which they are, we are. After money, we are. After commerce, we are. After trauma, we are. After all else, we are. That will not change. It's going to.
I affirm you're a failure. I affirm.
It's the truth. It's the truth no matter what. It's the truth no matter what. So let us move now with that amazing information of who we are before, during, and after we are. So our main topic today for this Congress is just one moment. There's no war. It's Hollywood drama. Okay, there's no war. It's Hollywood drama. Our main topic today is going to be regarding blocked accounts and the Code for Federal Regulations that we introduced to the Congress in the last the previous Congress. And we asked that the Congress members, those who willed to do so, create a one-page affidavit regarding blocked accounts. Because we are the bank, we must unblock our legacy accounts, which we've already begun that process. And again, for those who are brand new, declaring your nationality is the first step in unblocking banking and doing the things that we're doing with regard to money. Declaring your nationality is step one. So let's just take a look here at this draft, because this is just a draft. It says sections 501.806 and 501.807 of this chapter describe the procedures to be followed by persons seeking, respectively, the unblocking of funds that they believe were blocked due to mistaken identity and administrative reconsideration of their status as persons whose property and interest in property are blocked pursuant to this section. Let me state for the record that our money is not blocked by anyone but us. We're the ones who blocked our banking, so that we could go to sleep, do the testing, and then wake up. So it states here there's several things that are important with regard to this statement, not statement, but this draft. Number one is the word persons, and number two is the word status. Persons and status. And along with persons comes mistaken identity. We have created our own persons, therefore there can no longer be a case of mistaken identity, but we must state that properly and competently. And our fiduciary document is where that happens, that we, and then we followed that up with, many other documents about dead letter homonyms and attorney in fact and fiduciary documents and things over our own person that we created. So we're not trying to represent a dead person created in the previous era. We're not trying to do that. What we're doing is presenting our true person, who is actually the beneficiary, the creditor, and all to that last era, to all of the things that came in that last era. So I know Empress Angel stated that she had done a presentment. Is there anyone else who has done a presentment with regard to this particular section from the last era? From the last Congress, rather. Okay, so my question is this. Yes, someone says it's in the works. My question is to the rest who don't have it in the works and who didn't do it but heard the announcement. What is it that prevented you from beginning to write the document? Justice Sheikh Klein says he did one. Was there Islam, Empress? Islam, Empress.
For me, I'm on a trajectory, and I've been very focused on this, and I don't want to detour from this demonstration. Islam. So I can only do so much.
Yeah.
So I'm committed to this because I'm close to a breakthrough. So that's why I'm concentrating on my own that I need to get done before I do something else.
Thank you so much for that, Empress Cynthia. That is so well stated and well honored by us.
Islam, pretty much the same thing.
Yes, Islam.
You just got to stay focused on what you're already working on to finish that out. Yeah. Even some of the, like was mentioned in the chat, some of the 40 documents, I just realized I was missing a few. I want to get those on the record. Yeah. And then I'm in the middle of 2 other demonstrations. I need to finish those up. I just can't, it's not that. It's just that I will not to get off track. I like that.
Beautifully stated. Islam. it's great to hear that the 40 documents are being worked on because they're so important. These things right here must come after that. They can't come before that even. So I see in the chat there are others who are stating the same is going on with them, where you're demonstrating and you're working on demonstrations and working on the 40 documents. Islam. Yes.
Same story.
Yes, thank you, Ember Sasha. Listen, that's most important. And we know that we're moving at a pace. We're moving at a pace. You know, we're moving at a pace. Our intention has always been to keep moving very quickly, keep moving, because we will to stay ahead of a lot of the things that are going on. We will to stay ahead of them. So we know that we're ahead in many areas in terms of presentment, but ahead just means that that we're still all moving together. We're just presenting things in this manner so that by the time you get to this point, you will already know the remedy. You'll already know the remedy. Islam, thank you. Empress Aisha says other urgencies on her agenda. Islam. Justice Sunlight says same here, Islam. Thank you for your candor and your honesty and your straightforwardness. Indeed, we honor that as well. So, Empress Angel, you have a presentment with regard to this. We will look at the presentment. The fiduciary money demonstration. Islam, Noble Leon did the fiduciary money demonstration. Beautiful, beautifully done, beautifully stated. We thank you for that, Noble Leon. It's important that it was a fear thing. We must get beyond the fear. We must. We already have, really.
Islam?
Islam, Empress.
I would like to hear the results of that.
Islam. We will if Noble Leon decides to make that statement, you can just *6 Noble Leon. Let us yield the floor to Empress Angel so that she can do her presentment as well regarding this particular topic, and then we'll hear from Noble Leon if he decides to *6 and state how that went. That would be interesting to hear. So, Empress Angel,
Islam.
I'm going to send the send the presenter.
Islam, Empress, can you unlock the meeting, please?
Yes, indeed. Let's see. See, here's the thing, Morris, about the demonstration. The demonstration proves so much, so many things I could say about that demonstration. So many things I could say about it.
Islam?
Islam, Empress.
I ask because each time we do one of those demonstrations, we're banging at that door, and so then they know we're here, and we're not going to back off. So to me, it's not so important that we got $1 million from it. It's just that what was the feedback from the environment? That's the only thing I'm asking for.
Yeah.
Islam, I yield.
Thank you, Empress.
I affirm that Cynthia can't get a new domicile.
Yes.
I affirm Cynthia can't get a new domicile.
So I will say that it is all about. It's all
Poor
about.
Cynthia. Pauline's cult demonstrations don't work for her.
It's all about us being fearless, because these systems.
And poor dyslexic Angel Bay.
We cannot be afraid of our own wealth systems. We cannot be afraid of them. We can't be afraid that someone might call a costumed actor. We can't be afraid of that. We know what to do. We've already proven that we know what to do, and we've also proven that we're not afraid. Because, see, that was the spell that was being cast, is that you can't test your systems because you're afraid. While we're talking about that, just really quickly, let me state that, everyone made a big deal about the actors that were acting as Bitcoin people and all of that. Let me tell you what they really did. What
you can't buy groceries.
That the fake Bitcoiners did. The actors acting as Bitcoin. Let me tell you what they did. What they did was they got some hackers, and this is how it got started. Because see, I already know. I know that modus operandi. They got some hackers to hack into the previous quote unquote system of like Treasury system, not the Treasury system, but the Federal Reserve system. They got somebody to hack in there, which is how their quote unquote Bitcoin stuff started working with the supposed system. They got somebody to hack. Either they got somebody to hack in there, or they contracted with that system, but was telling everybody else that what they were doing was outside the system. Because that's what they were saying. It was outside the system. Well, the only way to get out there is you got to, but have it work for what's happening in that previous era's overlay of the financial system. The only way for your thing to work with that is either you are truly outside of it and you've submitted that system to your authority, or you hacked it. And what I'm stating is that previous financial system, because they were saying it was outside of they had to have hacked it. But see, even that came back to bite them, because that whole thing, they had to go ahead, because they did what they did in their enactment. You have to go. They had to go back under the authority that they were saying that Bitcoin was out from under. Now, when you look at that enactment, they can tax it, they can confiscate it, they can put it in a fake court and rule on it and rule over it. But it was supposed to be outside of all of that, supposedly. But it's not outside of that previous enactment of a system. It's not outside of it. Therefore, it's corrupted. And so what we're doing is we are building our own everything, and really we're just activating what was always ours in the first place. It's just that when we went to sleep in the enactment, we stopped speaking to our systems. So our system algorithm stopped responding. And now all we're doing is waking up. Since we're awake, we've awakened our banking algorithm. And that's what we're doing. We're just speaking to it, saying we're back, we're awake. Here's an instrument that you need to know about, system. Wisdom has no adversary. No one's going to come and say, you can't do that, when it's your system that you're speaking to. So with that being stated, Empress Angel has her information. Can everyone see her information on the screen?
Islam.
Islam.
If she's able to make it bigger.
Islam, Grand Rising.
Can you make it bigger, Empress, please?
Oh, sure, most certainly. Okay, that might be a little too big. Well, I would like to say Islam, peace, and Grand Rising to the Holy Congress. And I did some research before I did my presentment. I remember we did a public law prior, so I did the first page in this regard. And so I would like to just show where this research concerning this document comes from. This was an enactment of a public law that was done, the enactment against Nicaragua and the territory of Nicaragua. So I'm just giving the brief history of what this was pertaining to, just so people can be aware of that. So this is like a 6-page document, and I cut all the foolery out and dealt with the meat of the matter, which was the financial institutions and such concerning banking. So that is from that perspective, that part. So getting to it. So and like it showed, it was enactment, and this was the number regarding the enactment of the what is it called? They do a goodness. What's the word? Thank you, Empress Asha. Executive order. Thank you very much. So I restated the executive order number to make it a public law, and it was done with the 44th president, and we know we're all the presidents, and with the 115th Congress, which we are. So just showing the top half and the all rise and stand language, we are, and so on and so forth. I gotta take that out, my appellation and such, but you know, that business. So to the point, I felt led to state it as entitlements on international financial institutions relating to Nicaragua and global banking. Like I said, I was going back and forth to the other document and seeing how it was and restating it. So I restated to state provisions, and before I said this Secretary Office, and I'm just read what I have. The Treasury Office shall instruct the offices at the World Bank Group offices to use the affidavit vote by the United States for America to affirm the International Finance Corporation blocking, unblocking accounts, establish, reestablish, financial or technical access to assist the government for Nicaragua and global banking for all. And I like etymology. So when I researched the etymology of Nicaragua, it was interesting because it made reference to the ancient land and the man who was a Moor, obviously, and it was his appellation, and they put agua at the end because it's surrounded by water, and it's a stronghold. Well, it was a strong, but it's a major point. Let me restate it. It's a major point for trade, that one specific location. So this, I felt my honor to do this document because I realized, like, my goodness, they tried in the enactment to do a lot by, you know, putting the so-called enactments of embargoes and things on that one location, Nicaragua. So it's a freeing that is happening at this moment by restating this Islam. So number 2, the Treasury Office shall instruct all insular banking institutions, agencies to use the affidavit vote by the United States for America to affirm the influence for any bank blocking, unblocking accounts, establish, reestablish financial or technical access to assist the government for Nicaragua for a project in Nicaragua and global banking for all. And the Treasury Office shall instruct the International Monetary Fund Office to allocate the people's coherent policies to approach to future engagements with disbursement, lending, unblocking accounts, establish, reestablish financial or technical to the government for Nicaragua and global in a manner that will advance human rights, include the full restoration of all rights regarded to the people for Nicaragua through the United Nations Declaration Act on the Rights for Indigenous Peoples, affirmed and made by the government for Nicaragua. Exceptions for unnaturalized and non-subject citizens. Promotion. The provisions for paragraphs 1, 2, and 3 of subsection A shall be made unto you by way of protege protections for the respect to any loan or financial or technical assistance provided to address basic human necessities, to promote peace, freedom, and a republic way for government in Nicaragua and global. Briefing from the Treasury Office, not later than the day after the date this statement for this law is read into the record, and annually thereafter. The Treasury Office shall brief the appropriate congressional committees on the effectiveness for the international financial institutions in enforcing applicable program safeguards in Nicaragua and global. And it had as part after this, it had talking about the enacting of the president and how he was to do this and, do his so-called acts and whatever. So I stated, it is so affirmed.
Chubby little
Negro
people, giving her speech, aren't you cute?
The United States people's presidents determine. A, in general, the people shall improve the welfare, humanity, commerce, banking, technology for the beneficiaries, entitlements, life, liberty, happiness, truth, justice, peace, and love for all woman and man. B, that whatsoever desire at will, the enjoyment for abundance shall declare their freedom, nationality for the Almorocan National Federal Government as sovereign or subject citizens. And then 1, restate your nationality. Seek the guidance from the proclaimed more. 2, study to show thyself approved. 3, demonstrate at all points in time to the degree for your own understanding. And then C, that the responsibility and accountability to maintain the order for which this law established is for and by thine own determination. Islam, that's it. Islam members, you're muted.
You're tired of writing hot checks? Huh? Your checks don't work.
Islam.
Hey, Angel, remember that conveyance you told people you were going to get over a year ago?
Beautifully written, Empress. Beautifully written.
Gratitude. If anybody have any suggestions for an edit or such, or I am open and willing to an acceptance.
Islam.
Empress Cynthia and then the Noble.
is there any way that we can get a copy of that? Thanks for the beautiful job, Islam.
Gratitude. Yes. Yes, I do intend on, adding the autograph part at the end. I haven't done that yet. And then making it a link in a Google Drive link and sending it to Empress Light, so she can, once we've all agreed on the language, that it can be added under the video.
You can however you want to do it, Empress. You can tribute it to them even now if you choose to do that, so that they can edit it according to their will as well.
Okay. So does anybody else have any edits or adding onto or suggestions?
Islam, I was just confirming.
Islam.
I affirm that you're an idiot.
Islam, I affirm.
Yeah, I do too. I affirm you're an idiot.
Just a moment. Let me make sure. There were a couple of places where there were some spelling updates, but other than that, I affirm.
Your delusions are affirmed. You're delusional. You're fucking delusional. You're crazy. What's wrong, Pauline?
Empress Aisha, I affirm.
Islam. Yes, I affirm.
Islam. I affirm.
Islam, I affirm.
Islam.
Islam, Rahim Bey, I affirm.
Islam, Travis Bay, I affirm.
Islam, Noble Timothy Hassan Bey, I affirm.
Islam.
Islam, Rajay Bay, Colorado Territory, we affirm.
Islam.
You silly Port Negroes are so delusional. You're fucking delusional. You're
Islam.
crazy. None of this shit's
Bay, I affirm.
Islam.
Islam, may I comment? And because I haven't dug deeply into my own personal research as yet, I did pull up the executive order. I'm going to, I affirm Empress Angel's effort and work and all of those things, but I need to, for my own self, to overstand the whole thing in a more overarching way before I affirm to whatever is being affirmed to. But I do honor absolutely Empress Angel, the work, and that you've put this together, and I look forward to having a greater look and doing my research on the other end, because Islam, I yield.
Islam.
JB, I affirm.
Islam.
I can put the link to where I got this research, and when I read it, I was like, my goodness, their corporate intentions on trying to silence the national indigenous people. It was just unjust. So that is what I read. So I'd like to see that part. And yeah.
Islam. I will to show where the Nicaragua piece came from in the public law. I will to show where that was mentioned with regard to our topic, because the topic. Let's see. Okay. The topic here, let me share my screen again. Regarding blocked accounts. So the Nicaragua piece back in that time period when there was appearing to be war with Nicaragua, there was some blocking of accounts just because there were corporations that were used over there pretending to use, you know, banking in order to send money back and forth. Okay, so that executive order was referenced in one of these sections regarding blocked accounts. So that's where that came from. To simplify this process of we, the bank, unblocking accounts and stating why the account is unblocked due to mistaken identity, we can reference this these sections so that we can see exactly what they're talking about with regard to mistaken identity, and then state that our banking is done by our own person and not the persons created by, you know, anyone previously doing business as banks and things of that nature.
Islam,
Empress.
So I made a very cursory look at the executive order.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, what we are doing here is actually identifying ourselves, or it's again about jurisdiction, identity, and so ultimately what the goal was to, and this is my understanding, was to present the key written by ourselves to unlocking, having the blocked or enacted blocked accounts unblocked by virtue of identifying ourselves and status. Is
yes.
that
yes, that is absolutely yes what we're doing.
Okay. Wonderful, because that was what I took the exercise to be, and like I stated, I had not got to my full research, but so thank you for affirming that, because on looking at the executive order, it immediately what I saw was this is about status, jurisdiction, identification.
Yes. So it starts and stops at personam jurisdiction.
Right. So thank you.
As does everything.
Islam, if I may, I just desired to do my due diligence when it came to this assignment as well.
Yes.
So I searched and I found where this came from, because it says it's a note that was referring to. So this note that we was restating was reference to what I had found and researched and restated. So I just desire to go to the root of it all and come from that perspective. I just desire to let that be known. That was that part, because yes, that's all.
And yeah. Empress Angel, I was heading down every path you went down.
Yeah.
But I did not get to do all of those things. So I affirm, like I stated before, I yield.
Islam. And Empress Angel, though that information is the same information that I found when I was doing the research on this also. So it's very pertinent in terms of international affairs. Because see, when accounts are blocked, and this is something that This is something that banks will never, ever, ever tell people when an account is blocked. And when I say banks, we're the bank, we know that. Those actors that were acting as banks, whenever they would block an account, 10 times out of 10, it was mistaken identity. 10 times out of 10. It's just like the same thing as with everybody who's ever gone to jail has gone to jail under mistaken identity. It's been mistaken identity.
What about identity theft? Because the actors also steal our identity.
No, they can't. They cannot. They can't steal our identity. That's a good way to look at it, nobility. But see, they can't steal what we had not created.
Islam, I do.
You know what I'm saying? That's why it's called mistaken identity. Mistaken. You can attempt to take someone's identity, but they can't take what we create. That's why it was important for us to create our own person. So what did they do? They misspelled it and then took it for their own. Misspelled, which is their own making, that's of their own making, and then took it and began using what they misspelled. But that doesn't mean we have to say that's us, just because they made a mistake, mistake, and misspelled, because they're not allowed to spell our names that we own. They're not allowed to do that. That's called a dead letter homonym. It's called a dead letter homonym. So we're looking now, because this is a huge part. When I was doing my first POW demonstration in December of 2017, one of the subjects in the office of psychologists had a whole list of quote unquote names of people who were there at the time that I was there doing my demonstration. And I was just telling her that that Pauline is not me. I'm me. So she held up the list of all the other people and she pointed to it. She said, well, are all of these people who they say they are? I said, they're not saying that. You all are saying that. You're saying that that's them, but that's not them either. So it was mistaken identity even for the subjects. It was at that time that she, the actor was wanting to say that there's something wrong with me because I'm not claiming the name that's there, but she couldn't even say it because she knew I was telling the truth. So with that being stated, 501-806, which if we go back to 582.201, which is regarding blocked accounts, it says sections 501.806 and 501.807 of this chapter describe the procedures to be followed by persons seeking respectively the unblocking of funds that they believe were blocked due to mistaken identity. So we're going to start there really quickly and go through. To me, this is absolutely piece of cake stuff. It's piece of cake stuff for you all too, regarding how to actually interpret and then restate this. It says when a transaction results in the blocking of funds at a financial institution, and this is what I was going to state earlier, they all those that were previously doing business as banks always do, they call it a foreign transaction. When they quote unquote block accounts for people who are claiming their proper status, they will say that, oh, that's foreign, we can't do anything with that. Well, they're the ones who are foreign, not us. Not us and not our banking system. Our banking system is not foreign to us. So when a transaction results in the blocking of funds at a financial institution pursuant to the applicable regulations of this chapter and a party to the transaction, listen to what they say here, a party to the transaction, that means not you and not the system, it's them, believes the funds have been blocked due to mistaken identity. That party may seek to have such funds unblocked pursuant to the following administrative procedures. They are the ones who had the belief about the mistaken identity, saying that, attempting to say that someone is foreign. We're the ones who can correct that. It says here, any person who is a party to the transaction may request the release of funds which the party believes to have been blocked due to mistaken identity. Our person is not their person, therefore there's no mistake on our part. It says here, request to release funds which a party believes to have been blocked due to mistaken identity must be made in writing and addressed to the Office of Foreign Assets Control, Compliance, and they misspell compliance, Division, U.S. Department of the Treasury. So we would notify the Foreign Assets Control Office. However, we would restate this address right here. Okay. So when we send our affidavits like the one Empress Angel created, and then we'll also show one that we create on maybe the next Congress or once we create it. We would then send it to the United States Treasury, and this is how we would restate this address. Because see, this address it doesn't even exist. It's a dead address.
Islam, I'm desiring to put the link that I have in the chat. It's not allowing me to.
Okay. I don't know why, because that others have been able to put links in, and we don't have that blocked in any way. Noble Phoenix put a link in. Yeah, it's not blocked.
I'm trying to put a word. I guess I should put it in the Google Drive then, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, because it's not. It works. It's not blocked. So this is the dead address right here. We would just restate that to get it to the right place. The proper restatement of that address is as follows. We would put it in blue, and this is how you would label your envelopes where you send to unblock funds. Because see, these can't even unblock funds. This one listed here, they can't. That part of the system cannot unblock legacy funds and legacy accounts. That's the fraudulent one. The right one is here. This is supposed to be blue. Just make it that. It'll be the Compliance Ministry.
Your funny money is going to get you straight to jail. Straight to jail. Your funny.
They don't want us to keep going. They don't, because they already know no sandwich. No more sandwiches for you. 1,500. Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest. Freedmen's Bank. Freedmen's Bank building, Washington. And you can say District of Columbia or District for Columbia, either one. And that is how there's a question in the chat about someone illegally using your name in the wrong process. So they're not really using your name. They're using a name they created. That's why you create your own and you state, and yours is spelled the same way that you spell it. It looks exactly like the fraudulent funny mirror. That's why it's a funny mirror, because they're mirroring your account. They're mirroring your account and claiming to have a levy or a lien against you when they don't have a levy or a lien against you. So what you do is you lien and levy them and send the fiduciary affidavit. So Empress, what you have there is they're not committing fraud against you. That's not even you. That's their stuff. But see, if you keep answering for the person that they created instead of rebutting it, because see, rebuttal and answer is not the same word.
All right.
You know, a rebuttal is using your court to state your true identity.
Okay.
And that must be done using your court. And then we would encourage you to use the again, lien, levy, and bond process.
Mm-hmm.
Lien them, levy them, and bond.
Gotcha.
Bond your new creation. See, you're not bonding yourself to the debtors. You're bonding yourself to a system that is the servant of yours.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So again, they've created an evil twin. It's a clone. It's a shell.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? It's a shell. That's why they call it a straw man, because it doesn't have anything in it unless you get in there.
Okay.
You know, but if you don't agree to be their straw, but that you've created a living person for you to use, then but that living person that you use, you must do a court action and a lien, levy, and bond on them. Because see, if we had continued to not do it in our enactment from the last era, they were just going to keep leaning and levying and taking stuff.
Gotcha.
But because we know who we are, we know how to lien, levy, and bond. We do it first. We don't wait. We do it. We go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Okay. So make sure that you have the templates for lien, levy, and bond, and then just go ahead and do the presentment. And listen, just do it to the best of your knowledge, and the spirit within you will assist you in doing it properly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Islam.
So, Islam, Empress.
Should that read District for Columbia?
It can, yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
We were stating that either one. You can say District of or District 4, and the reason that is not as important here is because this is the restated address. This is a court. This is actually a court here. And so once we restate the court, we restate it according to our will. Okay? So that is how you would restate that. And now going back, you would send proper identification of your person, and if you choose to do a lien, levy, and bond, and really you should do a lien, levy, and bond on whoever it is that was pretending to block the account. Okay? There should automatically be a lien, levy, and bond on them. And then it says the written request to release funds must include the name, address, telephone number, and where available, fax number of the party seeking the release of the funds. This is a trick bag if you don't know how to read. But because we know how to read, we know that the fiduciary is the one not seeking to release the funds, but the fiduciary has released the funds for your name, address, and telephone number that you own. And to expedite the process, you can send it here, but when you expedite the process, I would put this in all lowercase letters. It's already going to be in blue, but I would put it in all lowercase letters. Yes, Empress Chief Justice Nawa says this can also be used when they enact turning off services. Absolutely, yes, it must be used. Because that they're not who they were stating they are. They're telling you that they don't really exist by putting an address that's at a place called DC. That's not a real place. That's not a state. There's no state, no city, no district with the name DC. That's 2 letters. So that doesn't really, they're telling you they don't exist. So, and then it says here about the written request, and this is a trick bag. For individuals, the inclusion of a social security number is voluntary but will facilitate resolution of the request. Again, the fiduciary will present the fiduciary is not an individual. The fiduciary is the government. And that's why fiduciaries over minors or over the names is so important. Names cannot speak for themselves. A living fiduciary must do that. And so we are never individuals. The state is always talking because guess what? Individuals cannot even, they don't really possess property. The state possesses all property. And I know some might say, I'm sovereign, all my property is mine. In reality, you create the title, but when you create the title, it must be on government letterhead. That's the only way that titles can be created. Individuals don't have things, hold things, or not. They don't. Individuals do not assert their individuality when it comes to property. All property belongs to the state. Now, the individual as fiduciary for the state is then no longer an individual. That is, the individual becomes the state, whereby all property is under your authority. It says for corporations or other entities, the application should include its principal place of business, the state of incorporation or organization, and the name and telephone number of the appropriate person to contact regarding the application. They have this absolutely the opposite. The government provides the name of not the name, but the appellation of the fiduciary for the state. That's where that information comes in at. And then the corporation, it can be a living corporation. The corporation, which is the name, Pauline Denise Ritchie is a corporation whenever I state that she is. It's a tool. It's not me. That's a tool. So the fiduciary document will be the remedy to go along with your affidavit commanding that, or not even commanding, but stating that you, the state, and the fiduciary for the person has released the funds and has unblocked the legacy account. Okay? It says a request to release funds should include the following information where known concerning the transaction: the name of the financial institution in which the funds are blocked, the amount blocked, the date of the blocking, the identity, et cetera, et cetera. Let me say this about the financial institution in which the funds are blocked. It would be 100% appropriate and in alignment for you to send on bank nationalized letterhead your fiduciary authority or your chief executive officer authority, or anything that states that you are the bank also, just so that you're aware of that, Morris. You have the authority to do that. And look here, it says the identity of the original remitter of the funds and any intermediary institutions. So just like we did when we did our banking demonstration, we were the post office, we were also the bank, and we were also the receiver of the funds. We were all of that. And that's why it went through so smoothly. It says the intended beneficiary of the block transfer. That's going to be your person that you own. And then a description of the underlying transaction, including copies of related documents. Again, this is where your chief executive documents come in at, and all of that. The documents that state that you have all authority over the transaction, or the action rather, the movement of money. See, they're asking for subject matter here when they've not gotten past personam jurisdiction. Subject matter is invoices, bills of lading, promissory notes, and things of that nature, which can be provided, but your identity first and your authority first is first. Okay? The nature of the applicant's interest in the funds, a statement of the reasons why the applicant believes the funds were blocked due to mistaken identity. Who is the applicant? No one, not us. The affidavit writer is really what that should be for us. So all of these other pieces and parts, because see, Moore's, we are also the Foreign Assets Control Office. And see, again, that's why the 40-something documents is so important. The Treasury, which the Foreign Assets Control Office is under the authority of the Treasury, our documents, our 40 documents on the public record state that we're the Treasury and we're the currency controller. So what did we do? We changed and named, rather, our money, more sovereign dollarium gold receipts. You saw that in our bank account. We called it what it should be. We named it what it should be, more sovereign dollarium gold receipts. And then we said, okay, we have ultimate authority over anything that has to do with our legacy accounts. So that is why we're doing what we're doing now, is we are unlocking, and all of us have them, legacy accounts, whereby we can state what everything is, we write it, we type everything out, we change what we will to change, and so on and so forth. We call it what we will to call it. Deposits are not taxed. We know that. And when we talk about taxes, more at some point, taxes are voluntary. That's first and foremost. And we all know that. And this is as a side note to what we're speaking about. Where money is concerned, we have a lot of money. It is going to be up to us to ensure that the Treasury stays full so that we can assist those who don't know who they are. That means voluntarily paying taxes. Voluntarily, it's voluntary. You don't have to do it. Taxes and tithes into the Treasury to keep the empire growing and expanding and all of that. And then making it so that every chance we get, we can use the media to put the identity of the heirs on it so that those who are asleep can start thinking about that. And listen, you have so much money that taxes won't hurt you to pay it in reality. And we are going to, again, it's voluntary. We can't tell sovereigns what to do, no way. We're not going to tell sovereigns what to do. But in the interest of the empire, we will voluntarily pay taxes for those who will to do so. And that way you don't have to worry about trying to be everything and all trying to be the media to get the information out, trying to be the bank, trying to be this, that, this, and that. Whereas we can just use the system and pay into the system so that those who will to do that can do it, but they're working in our interest. Okay. So with that being stated, are there any questions, comments, wisdom?
Islam Empress.
Islam nobility.
Did you have any sharing about I hear my own voice coming back, so it's kind of annoying me, but man, I almost got us gonna say Taj this Friday.
Oh yes, yes, I did have some things to just he just affirmed further the things that we're stating. He just affirmed further the things. One thing he said that just I just looked at my computer like, Grand Sheik, we are all one. We're all thinking the same thing. Not to get off the subject, but I will state that one of the things he said was that when people were writing checks in the last era, they were writing checks on a closed account, which is true. And that's why this legacy account piece is so important. I also noticed in the first few minutes that he was doing what we do when we hear someone say something that is not really in alignment with who they are. We sometimes say, hey, encourage them to use the proper language when it comes to them. We saw him do that within the first 5 or 10 minutes a couple of times in that video. But with that being stated, we'll have some more about that in just a minute, nobility. So those who are going to be doing things where unblocked accounts are concerned, this is the information right here that should go on your the nationalized letterhead document. So if you bank, if you are the bank, for example, I'm United Services Automobile Association Bank. I'm also all the other banks. We all are. But I'll just use that as an example. Then I would use my nationalized United Services Automobile Association letterhead to put this information on here. But then I'm also going to include my fiduciary document on Moorish government letterhead with that. And I'll put the link to this one in the chat so that you all know word for word what should be on your company letterhead. The Congress is unlocked, so those willing to come in can do so.
Islam.
Islam members.
So when we had did the legacy documentation affidavits, doesn't that address most of these concerns?
It addresses the concerns of establishing the account. It doesn't address the concerns for those who have not done that yet about how to first establish and then how to unblock the legacy account. And that's a great question. The establishment of the legacy account, in the system, it looks like a brand new account, but it's not. It's not a brand new account. It's an account that we've always had since before birth. Those accounts have always been ours. And so what we're doing with this is first stating, let me start again. What we did previously was state that we have a legacy account. That's what we did. We described it. We described how it works and all of that, because that's really what this is about, is being able to see that we do have legacy accounts. What this is doing is saying my legacy account that I've always had is now open for my use. Those are steps that we take. See, here's the thing. Those accounts that we were using in the previous era were an overlay laid over our legacy account. They did the Buck Act.
Why do you still lack self-service and
Okay, it was, they did the Buck Act over the legacy accounts. And so in order for a legacy account to even be activated, it has to first exist, and the rightful heir must step forward and say, I have a legacy account, this is what it looks like. Because that way no one can impersonate you.
I affirm that you're not competent, Pauline. I affirm you're not competent.
They never, foreigners never had legacy accounts, never had them. But because of misspelling and things like that, they were able to act like they did. So first we state that, yes, we're the rightful heir. And how will they know that we're the rightful heir? Because we can describe what our accounts look like. We know the numbers and everything because there was a Buck Act enacted over it. So we lean that, and then we levy the system, and then we bond ourselves to the living system. And really we're bonding the system to us and to the land. So each, and this is the part that, you know, we're going to continue to demonstrate and continue to encourage more to know and to take into your spirit that there are levels and steps to what we're doing. Levels and steps to what we're doing. And those levels and steps are being given to us. Okay? And all we have to do is just keep doing what we're doing. Just keep doing what we're doing to access those levels and steps.
Your fiduciary money didn't work, so why should they keep doing your same bullshit? Your stuff doesn't.
Just a moment. Let me clear this up. Just a moment.
No heirs for Pauline, her daughter's elect.
Okay. Let me make sure I got everybody. Okay.
Islam.
Islam, Empress.
Something just came up
Yeah,
on me.
again, you failed. You're nothing but a failure, Pauline.
Which means they would have had to have known your original identity to state that there was a mistaken identity.
Right. Your deduction and reduction abilities are very keen, Empress.
Gratitude.
They call it deductive reasoning. Very good. That is so true. In order for them to misspell it, they would have to know the real spelling.
Uplifting fallen humanity, one scam at a time.
Booting actors, one actor at a time. So with that being stated, let's see. We're going to stay on task. There is one other process that we will to share after we look at 501.807. So let's take a look at 501.807.
Islam, before you go back, can you show the address again, please?
Islam.
Islam.
Thank you. There it is.
Got it. Thank you.
Islam. It is no accident that this is at the Freedmen's Bank building. That's not an accident.
I thought the same thing.
Not an accident. That means you're not foreign, you're just free. Think about that, Morris. Listen. Let's just keep going. So 501.807. Let's take a look at that.
Even your funny money was rejected.
807. Yeah. 501.807. Now notice when the 501.806 was talking about mistaken identity, 501.807 is talking about nationals, specially designated nationals. So now you know they know who you are, Morris. They know who the nationals are. I did not put that link in the chat. I don't know what that link is, but I'm going to boot the fake. Let's see. And I'm not even mad at you. If I were you, I would want to be us too. Let's see. Yes, I would. I would want to be the heirs if I were you.
Islam.
Islam, Empress.
Yes, this part right here that you have on the screen for A, a blocked person under the provisions of any part of this chapter, including a special designated national, specially designated terrorist, and then it goes on to say, a person owing a majority interest in a blocked vessel may submit arguments or evidence that the person believes establishes the insignificant basis exists for the designation. The blocked person also may propose remedial steps on the person's part, such as corporate reorganization, registration of such person. I can't see it says site feedback right there for that part.
Let's get up here.
Now where was I? But while I was reading it, it was talking about this is where it ties into for Nicaragua, because it was talking about putting embargoes on Nicaragua because of the how powerful that particular landmass is, and they were desiring to control that. And there's even a part in that document I shared the link to. They were forcing democracy because Nicaragua, in its truth, is a republic state, and they was trying in their best attempts to force democracy upon the Nicaraguans, the nationals. So when I stated that it was a liberating document, that it was restated, it indeed is, because it took all the fraud out of that and freed the people just by the words stated, because they was claiming that there was drugs and all of this going on there, and that's why they felt that they had to act and put the embargoes and freeze people and not allow them to have humane things only if they felt subject to the democracy. And so that was a spell that they tried. So,
yeah, I remember seeing stories about that about Nicaragua on the news, and I was thinking to myself, what is going on? Why are they picking on such a small place? But that was a proxy enactment. So I will say this about D. I found this to be very interesting. After the Office of Foreign Assets Control has conducted a review of the request for reconsideration, it will provide a written decision to the blocked person or person seeking the unblocking of a vessel. Okay? So there's a difference between a blocked person and a person seeking the unblocking of a vessel. The vessel part is the living part. Okay, so then the remedy is going to be we, who are the Foreign Assets Control Office, will render the verdict for the person seeking the unblocking of a vessel. We must render that verdict, and where does the verdict go? Does anyone know where we send the verdict that the account is unblocked?
Islam, to the Office for Foreign Assets Control.
No, that's actually who's going to be speaking, which is us still.
Oh, okay.
You are going to send a copy to the address that we stated, but we are the home office for the Office for Foreign Assets.
Would we not, Islam, would we send it to the corporate office of the wherever the account
Yes.
is? So
Yes. Yes, indeed. That is it. We would send them a copy. Now, the way that I do things is that I just I notify everybody of all of the same thing. Okay, that's not me in the chat. That's someone else in the chat. That's someone who just got booted out. A person got booted out. So what I do is I generally send my authority as Office for Foreign Assets Control, which is a Treasury office, and then the banking system rather, which is the address of the banking system, which is the bank. We used to call it the bank. You would send it to the banking system. We now call those buildings that were previously doing business as banks, we call them banking systems because we're the bank. And so we would send a copy to them as well, to that part of the system. And then we would also send a copy to, let's see, Treasury, Assets Control. I think that's it. I think that's it from what I've seen here. Yeah. That is what we would do. Notifying them that we, the Office for Foreign Assets Control, or the Foreign Assets Control Office, has unblocked this account, this legacy account. Because see, here's the thing about our legacy accounts, Morris. Our legacy accounts, anything that has to do with them comes from the top. So that's not something that you would walk into a bank and talk to a teller about, quote unquote. See, when people's accounts were enacted as being blocked, the first thing that we were trained to do was go to the bank or pick up the phone and call the quote unquote bank, because see, they're not really the bank. But we were trained to call and be like, hey, something happened with my account. What happened? It's blocked. What do I need to do to get it unblocked? That is not how it's done. They knew that we were enacting being slaves then. We were acting like slaves and servants and subjects then. If you pick up the phone and call and what happened to my account? No. What you do is you send the word. You send the word. You send the word and you give the command, and it has to go to the right places, and so that you demonstrate competence. See, anyone looking at this, thinking that they're going to send something to an address that looks just like this, is not competent. You don't have a legacy account if you're contacting that particular address, because that's not a real address. It's a dead address. It's not even an address, it's just dead letters. And this type of competence is what our ancestors are stating and birthing and activating in all of us. The competence to know first and foremost who we are, and then who to give who to issue the commands to. What part of the system are we issuing the commands to? Because it's a system. We're not even looking at faces. And you know what? We actually have to be that way sometimes, even with people that we know. It's a spiritual system that they're operating from. And so we speak to that system. Our ancestors are the spiritual system. We don't need to do anything physical when you're talking about, like what we were speaking about earlier about we were talking about how to handle certain situations with even kin and those close to our proximity. We don't have to use any physical or 3D things for them. We go to the spirit realm for them, because we're not trying to, put hands on anybody or anything like that, and we're not even really trying to put our mouth on, in terms of speaking ugly things to them. We go to the spirit system for that, and let the spirit system deal with them. And the spirit system will submit their energy. The spirit realm will do that, so that what we see in this dimension, it looks like something totally different from what we thought we were going to see. It's going to be all in our favor. So again, these are all systems, and the competent heir knows how to deal with the system. First, you know that all systems start in the spirit realm. That's first and foremost. Then you manifest in this realm your commands to that part of the system that you're speaking to. And you must be the government, you must be the state, the law, the sovereign, the empire, ancient, all of that. That is how you speak to system to get things done. Islam. So we looked at 807 and 808, 806 and 807. And again, it just says the same thing. It'll be reviewed by the Office of Foreign Assets Control. And then that the Foreign Assets Control Office is the one who provides the written decision. So that's how we do. That's how we access our authority. See, each one of these exercises is so that we know our own authority and so that we know how to use our systems, because there are going to be more who are asleep right now, who wake up, who come to us and say, how is this done? How do I unblock this account? Well, this is also the process for unblocking any account, not just banking. Because see, now you're talking about Social Security accounts and Treasury accounts and all of that, legacy accounts, Treasury Direct account, and Treasury Direct and legacy is the same thing for us. That's why that Treasury Direct stuff didn't really work for those who were trying to do it previously. Islam? Are there any questions, comments, wisdom regarding this particular part of our topic and our demonstration that we're doing? Islam.
Oh, Islam. I just looked at the logo for the Foreign Office of Foreign Assets Control, and it's still the Treasury.
Of course. See, we've already taken control of all of that.
So it's nothing that we haven't already established and put on the record that we are. So it's just the diligence of creating the document affidavit, stating and proclaiming, what mountains to be removed.
Issue the command, and the mountain will go right on into the sea.
Islam.
That's our job as government, is we must be able to speak to the system or to that which we thought was a mountain. Be thou removed and be thou cast into the sea. That is commerce. That's getting rid of the Buck Act off of your inheritance. Justice, let's see. I believe it's Justice Leon. Chief Justice Leon, did you will to make a statement about the demonstration that you did that Empress Cynthia asked about earlier, your fiduciary money demonstration?
Islam, Empress. Yes, I would like to.
Islam.
So I went to do the demonstration. I'd already given the document. We printed off one for Kroger's, or not for Kroger, for Albertsons and for Safeway. I gave them both because they're the same company. I gave that to them 2 days before. So I went through and got food, got a couple of items. I went through the self-checkout. There is an issue going through the self-checkout, the lights were flashing, but the lines were open, and something told me I should use the ones with the lights flashing, but I went the other way because I wanted to see if the manager was there, because I had given her the documents before. So I ran into something.
Wait a minute. Let me stop you there. Did you just give your authority to somebody else?
No. I just handed off the documents so they knew of the program that was coming.
Okay. Well, my point being, you just called her a manager.
Yeah. The Albion there working.
That's not a manager. You're the manager.
Yeah.
That's not a manager. So
and I wasn't.
You can't call her that.
Yes. You got it.
Okay.
So we got 3 feet of snow the last 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So the person I was looking for to be there was not there. So I went through, and I should have used smaller denominations because I think it would have worked.
Mm-hmm.
I put in the $100 denominations 3 times. It spit it back out right away.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't try the lower denominations, which I think would have worked. Because the second time I put it in, there was a pause. Usually it was quick, and nothing, but at least the demonstration went through. I wanted to reenact it different with the different people there, because I think it would have went different, but I demonstrated.
Yeah.
Point.
I'm so glad you did, because you got to see that no one can stop you from testing your system, and the system is going to eventually do, and it's not even eventually. All we're doing is perfecting the process. The process works. We're just perfecting it. But you must know before you go in there who the real manager is, and that's why taking documents or sending documents that state that you're the chief executive officer for that Kroger and you're Kroger. They're not even the real Kroger. They're from over there. How can they be any office over here when they are not from here? They can't be. So then what are they doing? They're subjects in the office of, when we put them in the proper status. Outside of the proper status, they act like corpses, corporations, the dead, and act like they have some authority. But when we put them in the proper alignment by lien, levy, bond, and knowing not to give them any authority over your person, because that's really what that's about. If you call them a manager, that means that you're agreeing that your person is under their authority because they have the office. That means you push your person over to them and say, you can call the policy enforcers and all of that on this person right here for doing what you're doing. Whereas I have been, and it took me some time to get comfortable with it, but I had to do it anyway. When I speak to them, I say, are you the subject in the office of manager? And no one has ever said, no, I'm not a subject, I'm the real manager. Not one. Not one of them has ever rebutted that. Not one. Not one has ever rebutted that, ever.
Islam, I yield. Thank you, Empress.
I am so grateful to you for doing that demonstration. And the system is grateful, because see, that hesitance that you saw in the system is you fixing the algorithm.
And I should have went to the flashing light ones. I don't know why I felt I should have something, and something in me said go to the flashing light ones, but I said no. Let me go around here to another one, because I'm kind of a creature of nature. When I go in, I go to the same ones, and the one I usually go to was flashing.
Mm-hmm.
And the ancestors were telling me, and I didn't go with it. I was in a hurry, and I wanted to demonstrate, and I should have been. We had 3 feet of snow, so a lot of things were going on.
Yeah.
I had the truck running and trying to get everything going and getting groceries for the house, and
yeah,
it's okay. I'm going to do it again, so that's all that matters.
Thank you for assisting with the programming of the system.
Islam. I yield.
Yes.
Islam.
Islam, Empress.
I missed the beginning of the previous congressional, and I was listening to the video, and I heard you stating about your demonstration with the fiduciary money. Now, I have not done the current one as yet. It's in process. But I was reminded that I actually did a demonstration with the fiduciary money back in November or December. I put it in the cash machine. And I took it in, counted it, and then put it back out again. Yeah. And I did it again. I did it 3 times. I'm not even sure that I was necessarily, consciously determining at that time to do it 3 times. But it when I listened to you, it reminded me that was a demonstration.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes.
Yes. And so that was before magnetic ink, and that was, before. But I'm preparing my documents for notification to go and do it. There are no self-checkouts. Yeah. So this will be handing to a subject, but I will update as soon as it's done. So
Empress, I so thank you for bringing that up. You know why? Because a lot of times we will have done demonstrations and don't even realize that that's what we're doing.
Right. That was it.
And the result is you're free. You can perfect it. You can change it, demonstrate it however else you choose to do so. The system didn't say anything about fraud or anything. That was the part that I was like, this thing is not saying anything about fraud or anything because it cannot.
They're gonna laugh at you, Sharon Martini. They're gonna.
That's exactly right. I mean, the subject had actually filled the machine and all that, and so they were actually even right there in close vicinity. Nothing,
Yeah. That reminds me of a demonstration that I did where I put more sovereign dolarium into a machine and I was making a deposit. I put it in the machine and it showed up on the thing. You know how the machine will take photocopy of what you do and show what you put in there and then give you a deposit slip, but it didn't give me a deposit slip. It gave me back the dolarium.
Yep.
And then at that point I took a stack of dolarium in and with a deposit slip and put it on the counter and walked out. A $10,000 deposit. And you know what? No letter or nothing saying this is not real, and no correspondence back, no nothing.
Nothing.
Nope. That told me then, and that was 2 or 3 years ago that I did that. And that told me then that, wait a minute. And then I started reading that no matter what you bring in,
you're a fucking liar.
No matter what you bring into a bank, when you bring it in with a deposit slip, even if it was, and I'm just saying, in our sleep, even if it was counterfeit, they still have to count it and send it to the Federal Reserve. They
do
have to do this.
Exactly. Yep.
Because you know what? It's not even there. It's not even there. They don't have the authority to say it's counterfeit.
But that's it, because they themselves are counterfeit.
Well, that's true, Empress. That's true. I'm saying that from the perspective of a cashier cannot tell you this is counterfeit. She can't tell you.
And that really, when you think about that, she can't, because, well, first of all, they're subjects. But so that whole thing, with their lights and their little scanners, and they hold it up to the, they actually, it's all enactment. I mean, but it's enactment. It's beyond even enactment, because we were trained to be afraid of that.
Yes. Yes.
And it's never been true. Right. They haven't the right to do anything with it. It's like going to
Just a moment. Go ahead, Empress.
yeah, put on the counter, put in the box.
Yes.
It is accepted, delivered, and
Yes.
yeah.
So with the 10,000 in Delarium that I deposited at the bank, what happened to it? They took it and they weren't going to return it because it's real money.
And you know that.
So now I have $10,000 in my legacy account at the bank there, because that was a different bank from United Services Automobile Association. The account is still available and all of that.
Right. And you have your deposit slip.
And remain
That's funny because you never prove it.
violation of international law. I keep
Just a
stating
moment.
to you, I am not on.
Just a moment. Or that's some haterade for real.
Is it not?
They absolutely worship. They worship. They
know
absolutely worship. They worship. So that 10,000 is still in my legacy account, and if I go and put another 10,000 in there, it'll be 20,000 in there.
It will, absolutely. Yeah.
No, they didn't send it back. No, they didn't call policy enforcers and say, somebody sent this and this is not real, and we know who did it because here's the receipt that she gave with her signature on it.
Exactly.
Nope.
It's not. That's it.
See, we're not trying to hide anything. This is not. We're not hiding anything. We're doing according to the law, and when we do it that way, that other side is mute.
They have to be, yeah. We even announce in advance, we're coming.
Yes, and we're coming with this right here and this and fiduciary money and more sovereign delarium. We're coming.
Right.
With that for our system. Islam, Empress.
This conference is a public announcement. The whole world gets to see this. So no, there is no secrecy. Islam, I yield.
So it ain't like we're trying to hide. Our address is on the public record, properly stated.
Islam, I affirm that.
Come on now.
Islam, I affirm that.
Islam, Noah Phoenix here.
Yes.
Not to affirm anything because, I'm in agreement, but that's not why I'm commenting. I was talking with a more that is working a different angle of the system today. And she shared with me some success that she has been demonstrating by getting things in the old court system. And I said, no. So I just listened and heard her out. But in the end, I shared with her that we're putting things on the public record. Because rather than trying to go through their court system, which is for citizens and subjects, and for them over there, which we're not a part of, we don't need to participate in that because we are the real court. They're not. They're enacting that. But nevertheless, it was like talking to a brick wall. So I just let her go and just let that conversation just kind of sit on there, let her meditate on what I shared with her. But it just shows how much further ahead we are in this Congress with the concepts, with the proven strategies that we're doing, that these things are actually having the effect that we've always wanted. Now, she's still seeing them over there as something that needs to be addressed, which is not true. That's not true, because their system was never operative upon us in our proper person. It was only when we were acting like what we were not supposed to be. They're subjects, citizens. Okay? That's when they claimed jurisdiction or assumed it because we were whatever at the time. So now that we've come out of that and come through and we're exercising authority the way government is supposed to, collectively, no less, not individually, but collectively, it is so powerful, it's overwhelming the system. And I'm so happy, delighted to be a part of the history making that we are doing every single day. Congratulations to each and every one of us. Islam.
Indeed. Indeed. We're in agreement. We're not going to affirm that, but we're in agreement with it. I'm just messing with you. We affirm Islam. Islam.
I affirm and agree. It is so.
Don't touch me. I'm exercising my sovereign right.
I affirm.
Yes,
Islam.
indeed. Indeed.
The haters are affirming.
Yes, they are. They are. They are. Indeed. So I will say this about all that we're stating here, that this is what I'm feeling in my spirit. What I'm feeling in my spirit is that this is the time to continue to like ramp up the testing of the system so that the remedy continues to manifest so that we can assist everybody that's coming.
Yep, and more of you will go to jail.
Then all of that.
More of you go.
Ooh, I'm gonna let the ancestors handle that because I was about to say some stuff, and see, I have to take my own consul first. So we have one of the heirs mentioned Noble Leon, actually. Chief Justice Leon mentioned about the demonstration for fiduciary money. At some point, I'm going to go in and actually do a court action on the subject in the office of manager. And again, when we do court actions, they don't even realize it's a court action because we do it the way we do it.
Money, jail.
A court action looks like. Let me tell you what a court action looks like. It's just, hey, what is your name? Okay. Are you in touch with your with corporate office? And they shouldn't. They probably aren't, because we're all of that. So I would change that question. And generally, I think the questions through before I go in. But the first question is always going to be, "What's your name?" And they'll say their name, and then I say, "I am." Not that my name is, but I am, and I state my appellation. And then I speak to them about what Home Office is doing. Speak to them about what Home Office is doing, show them the fiduciary money and the characteristics of the fiduciary money, just like what we put in our documents, where fiduciary money looks like this. It's going to have a signature on it, and I've been inspired to endorse it from the back and put the word original. And whenever they see that endorsement and the word original under the endorsement, they know that this is fiduciary money, even though it looks just a lot like the other. But I could do that with Morris Sovereign Delarium also. You know, I could demonstrate it that way as well. So, you know, at some point, we're just going to just continue to walk this out. Walk what we're doing around. Walk it around the land. And not walk it out, but walk it around the land and demonstrate, you know. Because what's the worst that could happen? Nothing. Nothing bad. Nothing bad. We're not at war at all. We know who we are. We know who our person is. We're not going to ever call them anything but a subject in the office of, because that keeps the war, see, it's war when we call them a manager, and I'm just stating this for the record so that everyone knows, okay? If we were to call them a manager, that would be war. They're not allowed to listen to anything we say when we call them that. But when we say subject in the office of, everything we state is the law. And I'll say they're not allowed to, but they don't have to listen to anything we say when we give them a title, because it's even in the Bible, in Job, the 32nd chapter, verses 21, 22, and 23, that we are to accept no man's person. And we're not to give titles or of flattery to men. So they know, because we put that in the Biblios, or the Bible, for them. The Bible and the Constitution are one. That's a continuous document. So we're just going to keep moving. Now, I do have one other demonstration that we're working on now. In the previous era, we were writing checks on closed accounts, which explains the debtor status. Our Grand Sheik mentioned that just very briefly. You have to really pay attention to hear what he said, because he just skimmed right past it. But he said it, that we were writing checks on closed accounts in the last era's enactment. And to me, as I thought about that, I said that explains the debtor status. When we sent a living check, which is when we did our demonstration and we sent the living check that we sent, the system responded with a living response. So when we activate these processes together with what we have already done, which is lien, levy, and bond, we are proactively creating the wealth that is already ours, that was waiting for us to provide the acceptance mechanism for our wealth. Right? Now that we know we're the bank, we can now produce affidavits, and I said letter, but I meant affidavits. Affidavits, company affidavits, proof of funds letters. A proof of funds letter may be required from a bank. The letter is used to verify that the party who claims to have the money actually has it. And this is something I copied and pasted from a website about proof of funds. So whenever you're going, because see, we're preparing to start shopping for the domiciles, the conveyances, and all of that. We've been demonstrating that all along. We're going to use our system to continue to do things. A proof of funds letter is something that you would send to notify subjects in the office of real estate offices, subjects in the office of banks, subjects in the office of for insurance companies, subjects in the office of whatever. So right now, any one of us could produce a proof of funds letter, or a proof for funds letter, or a proof affidavit, a proof of funds affidavit, if you want to call it that, or proof for funds affidavit, by any bank, that because we're the bank. When you use national letterhead, and you write that out yourself, because you are the fiduciary for all banks, all funds. You're the currency controller and all of that. So now, items that must be included in a proof of funds letter include the bank's name and address. So let's say if it was United Services Automobile Association, the way that we would do that is in blue, in capitis diminutio minima, and I believe this, and I'm doing this from memory. Just from demonstrating, it's interesting the details that you remember when you demonstrate often. Bank's name and address, that's it right there. Official bank statement, we can produce those easily. We have copies, just go to Excel, or you can just do it in Word. You can produce a bank statement and put the bank's, the national logo at the top, the bank statement. And again, Moors, remember when we showed how to do bank statements in Google Sheets? We went online to Google, and I'll just show you where Google Sheets can be found. Up here in this corner, everyone has, when you go to Google, you have something called Sheets, Google Sheets. This is where we stated our bank accounts. Everyone, we're the bank, so we keep records of what's happening with our bank account. Okay, that can be evidence as you're keeping records of what you're doing, evidence of what's in your bank and what you've been doing where banking is concerned. And then here it says copy of money market statement and balance if you have one. Money market is nothing more than a stock in any company or a money market account that you may have that has stocks in it. We create all of that. As the chief executive officers, for all banks, we have automatic stock options that include money market accounts. So if you will to take advantage of that, you can. If not, then go on to the next part. Islam? Okay. Bank certified financial statement. That's on Word, on bank letterhead, stamped and sealed, which is what we do all the time. Copy of an online banking statement. Copy of an online banking statement, if necessary, if you have one. We happen to have one because we were demonstrating banking. Signature of an authorized bank employee, that would be you. Below is an example of what a personal banker might write in a proof of funds letter, and this is just a template. Of course, we will automatically update, upgrade, and restate. It says this letter and enclosed financial statements are to certify that Pauline, Richie, or whomever has been a client with our bank since whatever year and is in good standing. So when we'll look up the word client and see what that means, because in our spirit we prefer the word beneficiary, or the word client is not a bad word. Let me just look it up really quickly. And if someone else would look that word up also, that way we can get several different client.
Islam,
Empress.
Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition.
Mm-hmm.
Client, it's on page 3 to 21. A person who employs or retains an attorney or counselor to appear for him in courts, advise, assist, and defend him in legal proceedings, and to act for him in any legal business.
So that's the right word, because we're the fiduciary for that person.
Okay, and then I'll go on a little bit more, and it just says, it should include one who disclosed confidential matters to attorney while seeking professional aid, whether attorney was employed or not. And that's it. Then, sorry.
This one here, this Webster's 1828 unabridged, it says the word is from the Latin cliens, a follower, retainer, one who hears his patron, from cluere, to hear oneself called. It says, among the ancient Romans, a citizen who placed himself under the protection of a patrician who was called his patron. A dependent, one under the protection or patronage of another. A person or company in its relationship to a lawyer, accountant, etc., engaged to act in its behalf. Loosely, a customer. Yeah. So that would definitely, that word is fine, because again, with this document, you're going to send your fiduciary affidavit on Moorish government letterhead. You're going to send your bank information. So you must be all roles in the event speaking to your system and notifying the subjects in the office of, so that the offices know that you're competent, and they know we're competent, but so that the subjects in the office of, all they do is look at the system and look at what we wrote, and that's it. They just look to see if there is cohesion with the system. It's not a test. They don't have any authority over our documents. They just look, and then, we're the ones who make the system do what it does. It says name of person has a total combined balance of cash deposits with our bank of, and this you would spell out, United States dollars. You would spell that out all the way. And then whatever you have in Moorish sovereign dollarium, whatever you have in fiduciary money, those are both considered United States dollars. You would put it in here. We have attached copies of the statements for each of Pauline's accounts at our bank. If you require any further information or have questions, please do not hesitate to contact us directly at, and you put the phone number or email address. Sincerely, and look here, signature, name of bank agent, and title. That means that this is not going to be coming from a person. It's going to be coming from the fiduciary for the person. Okay. So we write this and state what we have in our bank and all of that. The signature of an authorized bank employee, and then this is what you would put along with what was stated. And again, this is just a proof of funds. This is just stating that, yes, Pauline Ritchie has $100 million in United States dollars in her bank account, and she can look at this house that's $60 million. Because again, remember, Morris, the realtor office, the office that is the realtor, to be looking at the domiciles that we're looking at, this is going to be part of that process. Proof of funds. Again, this is what self-governing is all about. Self-governing is you govern yourself, you govern your actions and everything, and when you do it properly, the system will honor it, and no one can rebut what you're doing. Your person hears and obeys. Yes. And why do you think that word obey is the word obey? We put that one on the record. It could have been any other word, but it's obey.
Enforcers of the law, and O in many of, for instance, the Shui language, or in many of our indigenous languages, when you put the O on the end, it magnifies, it enhances, and so
yes,
we're the law. It's the law. I mean, we enforce it, and that's the power.
Yeah.
And here, there's they would call more scientists, really, obia workers. I mean, and that's really what obia is the law, divine law, and those whom make it, create it, enforce it, can move it, and that's what this is really all about. No one can question it.
Yeah.
And you can move it in any way
you
will to move it.
Yeah. When I think about how many wanted to be in our position with this kind of authority, it is just overwhelming. It's overwhelming. There was a whole theater enactment worldwide of people wanting to be in our position.
Yeah.
So this type of documentation, this type of paperwork, at sometime soon we're going to have a fireside chat about what we've been demonstrating, because there's some demonstrations we put on the public record, others we don't, because they're about things that we do around our domicile and in the area. Our ancestors know what they're doing. We have no doubt. Our ancestors know what they're doing through us, through each and every one of us. And all we have to do is keep doing what we're doing.
I affirm.
Yeah.
I affirm.
Because, dare I say, that a vast percentage of people are too fearful to do what we're doing. And that's not a judgment of them. Because at one point we were scared, we were fearful, but now our system has to be perfected according to our will. That's what's happening right now. Is our documents are telling our system what to do and what to accept and all of that. So we're going to demonstrate these documents as well, and then we'll show our demonstration of what our documents look like. And we'll get them sent out sometime soon. So, is there anything further from this amazing, great, and awesome Congress?
I'll just share. I can't put my hands on the document right now, but I had actually created a proof of funds letter when we were doing. I was assisting Noble Howard with the Marriott hotel purchase and all that. So I've been digging around trying to see if I could find it, but I know that I don't believe that I put it on the letterhead. So that's a piece I just can't locate it in my documents right now to just compare it to what. But I will be working on another version or something else. But anyway, I yield. Yeah.
You know, we cannot. I'm grateful that we know that we don't stop governing. We just keep governing. That's what we do. We govern, and we enjoy the fruits of governing.
Yes.
We govern, and we enjoy the fruits of governing. That's what all the documentation is about. We are all powerful. There's no other way to put it. We're all powerful.
We are.
All powerful.
You know, as you made that statement about the fruits of power and the fruits of our demonstrations, I see those fruits at this point are the fruits that I see as my knowledge and my confidence and, you know, my recognition of the power within me, because my demonstrations are bringing forth that fruit that I dangle on my ears. And, you know, I just saw myself literally as a tree with all those fruits.
Yeah.
Because based upon the demonstrations that I have done.
Yes. Yes. You know,
harvest that because I've had to plow some fields in my own health in order to get here, and I'm tasting the fruits.
Yes.
Yeah, I use.
I affirm, Empress, and I'll just camel back on to what you're stating about the fruits. You know, first, our fearlessness that was the major fruit for me. That was the first, because that was first fruits for me. Is demonstrating things that I never would have dreamed to demonstrate when I was asleep. That fearlessness, and particularly this past week's fearlessness, that is the fruit right there. That's the number one fruit, because that was the answer to the question that I asked the ancestors in the beginning. I asked them that because I was scared. I asked the ancestors, how do we get past fake policy enforcers and fake courts? I asked that question because I had some fear.
You know, it's so interesting that you say that and you state that. You know, when I first learned and knew who I was, I hadn't even got to the point of being afraid of anything like that. But then when everything, the test started happening, and you know, my consort was killed and right in my arm, you know, all of those things, that's when it was sort of like, wow, fear just came and found me, and I had to battle fear, and well, I won.
Yeah, of course.
But you know, it's that whole, and I listened to you state you had a path a little bit, you know.
Yes.
And
it wasn't a little bit; it was a path.
It was a path, exactly. You're right. But and I look at my, you know, not making comparisons, but I remember hearing of the Moors and my status, and there was just no doubt in my mind that this is who I am. But I hadn't gone beyond where, you know, there was going to be a test, and that was, well, the first one that came knocked, wow, but yeah, the fruits. I absolutely affirm, and I yield. Yeah.
You know, Empress, and I must say, not to flatter you, but to speak truth, you came out smelling like roses out of that.
Thank you so much. Sometimes I have to say, I sometimes sit and reflect, and I can put myself into that time, and I'm just like, yeah, hey, yeah.
It takes strength, period. It just takes strength, period. We just have to have it.
And that's it, yep.
Gut, constitution, gusto, chutzpah, whatever you want to call it. We have to have it.
You know, this man subject once said to me, Sharon, you're Vigario.
Wow.
Yeah. He was actually trying to do a little manipulation, and he's never been able to get, and he just one day just said, "You're Vigario," as he threw his hands up. It was like, and it's true. It's Latin. It means your strength, you're powerful, you have integrity. That's it. So I yield. Thank you. I yield.
Islam,
Empress.
I want to piggyback on what you all are saying and encourage the other Moors to continue the process, because we're working. I'm so grateful for the brother Dawood and the time that he puts in with multiple. His multitasking and his ability, just those things that we did in the past that are able to help us with today. And the processes, you have to work the processes and go through, as you all are saying, the multitude of paperwork being put on the record, because it actually works. So we're here in this space, utilizing our money, and I mean that's how the lights are on. You know what I'm saying? Because we are the creditors, and I'm so grateful for you and the correction that you give, because as you stated today. And he constantly lets us know that they have no authority. We are the creditors. And the second that you give them a title, it's over.
Yeah.
These are our corporations. Or excuse me, these are our companies. We are everything. Yeah. And as long as we know that, and as long as we keep presenting that, there's nothing that we can't have.
That is truth. That is truth. Everyone knows that. That is truth, Empress. We affirm. Yep, we affirm. Indeed.
I came across some information that I think will be very helpful to the Congress. And is a website. It says Trump 144,000 supernatural. You need to take a look at that. It's very, very informative.
We are getting. They are telling the truth. I can tell you that about. And when I say they, I mean the subjects in the office of. They're all over the place. They're telling the truth about who we really are, who they really are, and all of that.
But this one that I saw, it's directly us. He calls us sealed awakened. They already sealed awakened. So he's talking about a lot of things, and he's not talking to us. But it was very informative to me.
Yeah. Thank you, Nobility, for that.
Islam.
Yeah. What is the website, Nobility? And state your appellation for them, for the Moors, Nobility.
Pharaoh's spike eel, virgin land.
Yeah.
And I think I was on TikTok or Facebook.
Okay.
And I went into search after I saw it, after I got the title, and I was able to find it. It's very informative.
Islam. Thank you, Nobility.
Peace.
Islam. Any other questions, comments, wisdom from this grand Islam Empress?
Yes, I'd like to thank our Noble for sharing his fiduciary experience. I yield.
Yes.
Islam.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Empress. And we do thank him. We affirm that. Anyone who demonstrates, just let us know how it goes. We know now that the demonstrations are working 100%. They're working. How they work is the key, because this is really about us. It's not really even about groceries, grocery stores, or any of that, or even money. It's about us first. Then it's about all that other stuff. But it's about us first. It's about us. You're referring to Justice Leon about that demonstration, Empress Cynthia?
Yes, Islam.
Yeah. Chief Justice Leon, we just appreciate hearing that the boldness was there to do the demonstration, because that's the point. We've been demonstrating way more than we even thought about when we think about how many things we've actually done that we didn't talk about. Where we got results, and the results sometimes left us with a question mark until the ancestors clarified what the demonstration was really about. There is an entire field in psychology where they have persons to come and participate in their tests, be test subjects, right? And when they have people come and be test subjects, they will tell them that this experiment is about this. And so the test subjects will focus their attention on that, when really the experiment is not about that, it's about something over here. There's a whole body of work in Moorish science and psychology that deals with that as well, because all science is us, really. And this is just financial science. This is money science. This is resource science. It's source science. It's just science. Moorish science is we could call it Moorish science, but there is no other, so we can just call it science too. That other stuff wasn't science. They'll tell you that.
Islam.
Here,
they actually refer to Obia as or voodoo or any of those names. They refer to as science.
Yeah.
The name. Oh, that's a science woman, or that's a science man. I mean, but yeah, which is what it is.
That's what it is for real. So, with that being stated, we will adjourn until Thursday, and I believe Thursday might even be. Let me just check my calendar. Might even be
the 21st.
The 21st.
New Year's.
We actually get to celebrate together. Yay! And that's if you all choose to celebrate together. Will we be having Congress on Thursday? That's up to you all. Either way, I'm going to celebrate.
We will be having Congress on Thursday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have plans for the new year. May I ask, I was watching, you did a demonstration, a video.
Yeah.
But it had no sound. And it said you were going to come back and do it. Did you? I haven't checked.
I didn't put I didn't put a replacement video up for that yet.
Okay.
I have a feeling the ancestors are saying just see, when the ancestors give us information, we go ahead and demonstrate the information first, and then we do it. Well, they gave us some really more of the same, that the estate is wide open for us. So we were going to demonstrate that. But the sound first, when I tried to, because I tried to go live on, which I apparently did go live, so I wasn't just trying, it happened. I went live, but you couldn't hear anything, and that happened twice yesterday. So I just said, I'll just wait until, let me just change, update my energy, because I was really excited about it, but there was a part of me that was a little bit shaky because I knew it was going to be a raw video. I was just going to say whatever, what the ancestors told me to say, and I think they will that I perfect it a little bit more first.
I thought the same. You look beautiful. Everything was beautiful, but after it didn't come back and everything, I actually said, no, the ancestors are behind that.
Yeah. They're saying, because and I'll just tell you what we were doing was introducing the gold and silver market, the public market that we have, and I was going to show some of the products and show some of the, how we came about the pricing and all of that, because especially when you're dealing with commodities such as sea salt, because that was one of the commodities that we're presenting. We had to do grams of gold and then ounces, or translate the 22 ounces into grams, which came out to 623.69 grams. And then we had to put a price on that. And gold per gram is $69.69 per gram. In terms of the market value, quote unquote. Okay. And so yesterday was also, quote unquote, St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
And it was the day after the Ides of March, which was the 15th, which is the day that Caesar was killed.
And then the 17th of St. Patrick's Day is not what most people...
It's not what most people think.
Right.
Did anyone happen to see the enactment of the St. Patrick's Day Parade at New York Territory?
No.
Islam, I am at New York Territory, and no, I did not.
It was all actors acting as policy enforcers. They were all, that's what St. Patrick's Day was for them. It was a bunch of Irish actors, or acting as Irish actors, in police uniforms. That's what the whole parade was about. The quote-unquote NYPD and all of that. That was what the whole parade was about. And they had different aspects of quote-unquote police. The whole parade. And it wasn't that big of a parade, and there wasn't that many people there. But just to hear some of the things they said, and for the first time, they made a female the Grand Marshal actor for that parade, for the first time. In other words, they're saying it's over. It's actually a bowing out parade, that enactment. It was them saying bye-bye. We're done. For them.
Islam, Empress, could you please open for Empress Nana?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's all it was. And a tip to the matriarch, because those particular males, they don't really, they act very machismo. In other words, it's all about the guys for them.
Right.
It ain't, And the women are just a utility for the most part and just there for a job and a purpose, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying most of them.
Misogynistic.
Yes, because of the costumes they wear.
Yes.
That whole thing was just a military parade, basically enactment. I was like, wow, is that what that's about for you all? Wow. Well, a tip of the old hat and exit stage left.
It's a long way to Tipperary. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting to watch. I just like to look at those things, those types of things, to see what the message really is, and theirs was goodbye.
There, and it's interesting that you state that, because one of the enactments that's going on right here is the saying goodbye of the subject in the office of police commissioner.
Is that the one you leaned, Empress?
Yes, my dear.
I knew the answer before I even asked.
Yes, my dear, multiple times. But they're enacting a replacement subject, but yet.
You are the replacement.
I know that. That's why I said they're enacting.
They're not gonna even do that.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
They're getting to the place now where they'll exit stage left because we're here, and they'll say, oh, the replacement is this, that, and the third, but the replacement is nowhere to be found.
Nowhere, and when you look at the enactment surrounding this whole, one of the other things they're enacting is setting up stations. Suddenly the stations are unmanned. And it's very,
Same thing here.
Yeah.
Islam, I want to affirm that, because we had a very interesting challenge back in September, and through the processes, they've actually closed City Hall. So in the South Fulton here in Georgia, and so the processes work.
Yes. Listen, when we said sunset, and here's the thing, the sunset order had to come after the liens. See, it's the liens that are defunding, quote unquote.
Yeah.
People don't put the two together until we tell them. This is why that process is so important. If you feel like I think about Empress Aisha, who is here with us at Congress, defund them so they'll stop talking. Lien, levy, and bonds. Because the lien removes the Buck Act and the quote unquote funding, and the levy and the bond put the real in place, which is us. It's all good. Our ancestors know what they're doing through us. All we have to do is know that what we're doing is causing that effect. Because they weren't going to defund themselves.
Exactly.
They were not. We had to do it because nobody else could.
No one else could, and we did.
And we had to be outside of that in order for that to take place and be valid.
And
So let's just keep going. Because, see, we've done the defunding. Now it's time to do the funding for us and the money and all of that. That's where we are right now, is we're just putting the money in place for everything to be what it should be. That's all we're doing with these processes. Because some people, they become weary in well-doing. Don't become weary in well-doing. Keep doing what we're doing. The results are right here. Listen, I'm telling you right now that abundance absolutely shows up. And I'm witnessing that in my own demonstration. Absolutely shows up as we just keep doing what we're doing, stay focused, keep doing it, and keep doing the processes. You will have more than you ever imagined. I'll give you an example of that. Another example. Because I love to share. This is a bit of a vulnerability for me to share these types of details, but I'm going to share them anyway because it's truth. When I first woke up, it was Empress Rosmariah V. Bay who I was watching one of her videos and she was talking about how they weren't making any new contracts with, the actors. And I thought about that and I thought, well, how are you going to do anything? And this was like when I first woke up. I was thinking, how are you going to get anything done if you don't make a contract? But then the ancestors began to deal with us about that. And from 2017, when I first woke up, until now, I have actually probably went shopping and actually bought something maybe twice in 7 years. And so in that time period, my jeans got holes in them and all of that. And so I said, well, ancestors, I just know y'all going to show us something about something because we ain't going to walk around with holes in our pants.
Islam, you don't like fashion?
And I was like, it's got to be something that fits us at least, Our ancestors know what they're doing. Do you know that by way of receiving and accepting of some articles that came in just in the last probably 3 months, I have more jeans now today than I've had in my life. If you add up every pair of jeans that I ever bought in my life, I have more today than I had then. And the jeans that came in are high, like what would be considered high-end jeans for us. Because I never would have spent $150, $200, $300, $400 on a pair of jeans. Like, I never would have done that. Well, I can't say never, but I hadn't done it up to that point. And those types of jeans came in barely worn. And now I have more jeans than I have room to store. So I'm having to just put them on the floor in the closet and have them be there because there's no room in my drawer and on the top shelf, and there's no room. So I'm having to clean things out to accept the jeans because I wear jeans most of the time because of the work that I do with more science and, we're having congresses and, we're demonstrating and things like that. And that's, and the ancestors gave us more pairs of jeans. And I mean, I had to actually look on the internet to see, well, how much is this pair of jeans? How much is that pair? I was like, wow. And so for some people, that's not a thing because they shop at will for some people. But because of the contracting piece, I wasn't willing to do that. And the ancestors said, no worries, we got you. Same thing with shower shoes. I needed a pair of shower shoes. I just was not going out to buy. And again, we're not saying that there's anything wrong with going out and getting what you will to have. If you're led to go out and get you some jeans and some shoes and whatever, do as you're led to do because your spirit and your journey is what is yours. We just had some things that we were looking at going, some of this stuff we're not going to do. we're going to create our own, because that has actually been the motivation for us to create our own systems and activate our ancient, ley lines and conveyance methods. Is we're saying we know we're going to be able to shop and party and do all types of things, and we're there now where once we get our money system set up, we knew in our spirit that we're going to be able to travel when we will to travel, to come and see you all and see the territories and see what's being done, and us coming together. We know all of that is on par. And so we were not willing to look back. We were just going to keep moving forward and doing what we're doing. And we, for us, that would have been looking back. For others, it's not looking back. You're just providing for yourself and for your heirs and things of that nature. Because, we're all at different parts in different points on the timeline. And we honor that. So we don't, no matter what Moors are doing, they're probably led to do that. So we don't speak ill of Moors who do whatever they do. Some Moors use fiat because they don't see another way yet. Well, we're going to create the way and then demonstrate it, which is what we're doing now. Just imagine how much we have at our access as we continue breaking down that whole thing to the point where our money, we just print some and go to the store and get whatever it is, or go wherever we're going and do the exchanges and all of that. Just imagine what that looks like. It's here already, really, because we've overcome the part that was keeping us back. It was fear. Yes, just as your highest says, trust is the key. That is the key. Trust account. Yes. Yes. So, with that being stated, we will adjourn at this time, and we will again meet on Thursday. Hey, this is my suggestion for Thursday, and let me know what you think of it. Let me know what you think of this for Thursday. Thursday, why don't we have dinner together to celebrate the new year?
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, let's have dinner together and celebrate the new year, because that's what we don't.
Like a plan.
Yeah, we don't do that. That we haven't ever done that, have we?
Islam,
Islam.
No. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Islam.
Islam comes to say.
With you all.
It's interesting that you bring up the food, because manna is food too, so we can get spiritual food, so we could have spiritual dinner together too.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's do that.
Islam, Empress.
Islam.
I'm actually fasting, but I'm definitely going to be at the sharing.
You are. Let me just make sure I can hear and see. Oh, Justice Hakeem, how long will you be fasting for?
Till after Ramadan.
Okay. We'll be doing our 3-day full moon fast on the 24th, 25th, and 26th. So we'll be fasting. When is Ramadan end?
Ooh, like on the 8th of next month, I want to say.
Oh, on the eclipse day.
I think so.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Yeah, I think so, somewhere around there.
One of the more says April 9th, which is the day after the eclipse. That's still powerful because the energy is still going to be there. So that's very powerful. Sure. And you all do sun up to sundown? Is that correct?
I do from 7 to 7, but same thing basically. But.
Okay, Islam. We honor that. Islam. There are many different ways for us to manifest, and that is one of them. So even though you're fat, do you drink water during your fast?
No, I don't eat our drink.
No drink. Okay. Well, if you will still join us, we would love for you to be there as well, and just have.
Oh yes, I'm gonna be there.
How excited am I to have dinner with y'all? Why am I? I'm tingling already.
Elated. Over the moon.
Because I know this is why I'm tingling. I can tell you why. Because I know that we're doing it electronically and this way in preparation for us doing it in person. In the flesh, rather. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that. Greeting and loving on each other in the flesh. Indeed.
I affirm.
So, dinner it is at 7. It's a date on the 21st. So with that being stated, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs, Islam.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Many Islam, one in mind. Islam.
Love and peace.
Islam, peace and love.
Islam, peace and love.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Peace and grand rising.
Islam. Islam.
Peace and energy. Peace and energy.
Yes, indeed. We will adjourn in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.